Okay, folks, good morning and welcome to Swing Trading Today. This is Bob Desmond, and it is 5/27, May 27th, 6 a.m. All right, so I'm asked the question, have you changed your time of going live from 5 a.m. to 6 a.m.? Temporarily, yeah, probably. Will it stay this way? Not quite sure, because the gyms here are usually closed. Well, not usually, they are closed. And normally I'm in the gym by 6 a.m. back to the gym. So ideally I do these recordings or live streams at 6 a.m. But once the gym's open back up, I'm probably gonna have to go back to 5 a.m. unless I can come up with a different solution. So temporarily 6 a.m. Let's begin the day with where we're at in terms of PE ratio. We use the Schiller PE, and the Schiller PE has us going into the day with a PE on the S&P 500 of 28.12. Very, very, very expensive. It rose yesterday. It appears as though it will rise again today. To put things into perspective, the median PE is 15.78. So as you take a look at the markets and you see them spiking up as they are this morning, please keep in mind that it's one expensive market, and you're beginning to see divergences. You're beginning to see sector rotation. And that means that what has been a leadership group is now beginning to lag the overall S&P 500. And the case in point, let's go to it. Case in point are the Trip Q names. They're back above 230 this morning. The key to remember is that yesterday, daily chart, yesterday they were down on the day while the S&P 500 was up, and it broke out. So we discussed this over the weekend, and we kept it in mind that I had expected a rally in financials. We got it. I expected a rally in the industrials. We got it. I expected a rally in the transports, vis-a-vis Boeing. We got them up big yesterday, 5%. And I expected weakness in the Trip Qs. Not because I believe they're going to crash. It's because they're just simply due for a pause. And ultimately, when the S&P 500 rolls over, they'll try to rally the Trip Qs yet again. But ultimately, there's a big short setting up here. This is a weekly chart. And you can see, this is the S&P 500, still a good ways away from all-time highs versus the Trip Qs, which are merely a stone's throw away. This should speak volumes. So I believe that they are going to continue to rally this market. Good morning, Thomas. NY Jets, good morning. Is it too late to sell gold and silver mining stocks? No. These are your opportunities, pal. Unless you're doing short-term swing trades, these are your opportunities. We're going to be accumulating those shares. So this is the early stages. I have no worries. It all depends upon your goals. And in fact, gold is spiking up this morning. I haven't checked the gold miners, but gold has been spiked up. It is off the highs, though. It's showing as negative on the session, but it's still up versus yesterday's close. So as we go into the trading day and the remainder of the week, let's keep in mind, especially as we hit the summer doldrums where it becomes very, very easy to manipulate the market by these algorithms, keep in mind what's going on here. It's an expensive market, and there's going to be some point, some time, where this all comes to one bloody end, and we'll be there ready to short it. But for now, the path of least resistance remains higher. Let's go to the pre-market activity. Let's go to the NASDAQ 100. We are up this morning, spot 98% on the session. It appears as though we are going to press higher. The S&P 500 continues to outperform the trip Qs. Could you imagine saying that 2 weeks ago? Now it's reality. We are firmly back above the 3,000 mark, which we couldn't hold yesterday. Watch out for a fade. Do not go chasing this market in the morning. Now, we did some buying yesterday. As alerts got triggered, trades got fired off, and we're doing well with those trades, and that was before the 3 p.m. hour, but that's not normally what we do, and we won't be doing it again today. So the S&P 500 looking good. Now, we are long of nat gas. I have a request from fellow member Franklin to go over, good morning, Oliver, to go over Netflix. I'll go over the daily chart. Not Netflix, nat gas. I still have to go over Netflix as well. That is for Charles. Let me get my notes right here. So, nat gas is really interesting. We're long of nat gas, and we are spiking up yet again this morning. And we are flirting with a challenge of a 2-handle on the spot price. And we haven't been there, let's see, since around the 6th of May. Yeah. No, actually, yeah, the 6th of May. So it's been a while. We couldn't hold that resistance level. Now we are going to challenge it yet again. So I'm not a big believer in hoping when I should fear when you have an ETF which is in a downtrend. And admittedly, flirting with a breakout here. But I like to buy the fact. And the fact is, we have not yet broken out. We are merely challengers of a breakout. So I may book some profits here, set an advanced order on nat gas and make those profits real. Let's watch and see whether or not we break out on a weekly, monthly basis. And if we do so, we do a retest next month, we could always re-enter the trade at quite possibly a lower price, even though we've broken out. Because you sell at resistance, and this is a upper band of a declining downtrend channel. So you could still stop out at resistance. If we close there, beautiful. When we pull back and do a retest, this is a declining level. You could quite possibly, even on a breakout, buy at a lower price or where you stopped out previously, and you know exactly where you put your stop loss order right below that key support level. So jury's out here. We'll see. We'll watch volume and see what kind of demand we have for nat gas. If it comes in like it did yesterday, quite possibly we'll hold on to it, as volume was very high yesterday. Let's go to let's take a look at nat gas on Thinkorswim. Not Thinkorswim, on TrendSpider. And Franklin, if you're watching this on the replay, I don't think you're on right now. Simply check out last night's market wrap. And I did a big, still early folks, I'm typing in the wrong symbol. I did a deeper dive on nat gas using stockcharts.com. All right, so here's one of the reasons why we bought nat gas. And we're long of UGAZ, and Franklin requested I go over UGAZ, so I'm going to do it again for him. Uh, so here is our downtrend channel, no doubt about it. Come on. And what did we do? We bounced off of support and we opened up our position, and we are now firmly off the lows of the month. But still, this is a bearish month, an outside reversal month. So I don't get the warm and fuzzies that we're going to close higher on the month or pop up higher next month and hold that breakout. But on a weekly basis, we are flashing an inside week, no new high, no new low. But again, while we have not put in a new week over week low, nor did we do so last week, the trend is still firmly down, right? A lot of damage has been done here. So would I initiate a new trade on UGAZ even though I'm long of it? No, not yet. I would wait. There's only a couple of trading days left in the month. I would wait for a breakout on a weekly basis, as we discussed on Thinkorswim, on that gas spot price. I would wait for the weekly breakout. Why take the risk? The easy money's been made. Daily chart. Here's the 26. It does not reflect today's price action. We're probably going to rally right up into resistance, if not break out. So in all probability, we are going to book our profits on UGAZ today. So I would not initiate a new trade here. Because again, we may be contrarians, but we do respect the downtrend. Getting back to the pre-market futures. We'll talk about gold. First, we want to bring up the dollar, see how that's doing, because there's a big tug of war going on out there. And I discussed this with members last night. And anybody who's ignoring this is not doing themselves any justice. There's a tug of war in the bond market between the bond vigilantes and the Federal Reserve. Wow, dollar is tanking. This is bearish price action. And who was it earlier? NY Jets, I believe it was, about the miners. Yeah, so yeah, and this is the reason why you really want to be careful with exiting those trades on weakness on current, because what you're seeing is the dollar weaken up. And the reason why the dollar is weakening up is because you have fear that's coming off. You have money that's rotating into the stock market. The dollar has been a safe haven trade, even while the Federal Reserve has been printing money hand over fist. Now, taking a look at gold, I hate when they do this. Gold is showing is down this morning, but that's because it gapped up at the new session open for Wednesday, and it's off the lows, off the highs of the session, but still up versus yesterday's closing price. So it looks as though they're going to try to rally gold yet again. Now, the only short-term threat to gold could be, and the Federal Reserve will probably take care of this, is a rise in yields. I was taking a look at this last night before I went to bed, and I was taking a look at the 30-year bond price. Normally I take a look at the 10-year, but I looked at the 30-year because longer-term yields, the Federal Reserve has a hard time managing. And you could still see here, bond prices out on the spectrum are declining. Yes, they're showing up, but they are weakening. versus, let's take a look at the 2-year, where they can control a little bit better. And they had an auction yesterday where they had historically low yields bonds went off at. And you're seeing, yeah, this is crazy. You're seeing a rally in short-term bonds, weakness in longer-term bonds. And that's the Federal Reserve doing a tug-of-war act with the bond vigilantes. There's a ton of volatility in the bond market, folks. All right. I want to talk a little bit about inflation. I haven't checked out sugar. I don't know if they allow sugar futures here on Thinkorswim. Let's check it out. No, they don't. We were talking last night about food inflation on Market Wrap. It is for real. You can see that corn, while it hasn't rallied yet, you have a beautiful, beautiful inverted head and shoulder setup forming here on a 4-hour chart. Left shoulder, head with a double bottom setup, right shoulder, and we are getting ready to break out. And you may be saying, Bob, that's pie in the sky. You're looking at patterns that haven't broken out yet. What makes you think that it's going to break out? Look no further than oats ripping, soybeans beginning to rip. So we are going to be looking to open up long positions in ag names. We already have exposure to some agriculture plays. One is a leveraged ETF, putting you long of an emerging market, big agricultural player, and they also produce a lot of oil. So that's an energy play as well. And we are long of an egg company, of all things, egg company. And those trades are doing well. They did really well yesterday. Let's go to Bitcoin. Bitcoin, nah, not much happening here. All right, let's go to some chart requests and we'll wrap things up for today. And not much going on in terms of economic data today. And folks, if you just joined in, can I ask you to hit that like button, please? And subscribe to the channel. I'd really appreciate it. It helps me out with YouTube and their algorithm. They always favor now CNBC, Bloomberg. Used to be, YouTube was a lot better for independent broadcasters, not anymore. Let's go to Netflix. Now Netflix is not having a good month. Were we to close out the month today, we would have a bearish reversal month. Very, very negative. I want to bring up Microsoft really quick just to satisfy my curiosity. Yeah, we're still up, but we're off the month's highs. Watch out for Microsoft. They had a very negative day yesterday. Back to Netflix. Okay, so looking at this chart here, I couldn't buy it. I'm anticipating a down month. That could change today. So far on the week, we have new weekly lows. We are at a support level, but not rock solid support. If we break the support level, we're coming back down here to the 390 mark. daily chart. Again, at support. I would imagine they're going to try to defend this level today. But keep in mind, we had a nice uptrend going here. And this lower band of support will now act as resistance. So keep that in mind if you buy the shares. What was support here is now going to be your upper band of resistance. Two-hour chart. Yeah, so on a 2-hour basis, looks like what they're going to do here is they're going to defend support, excuse me, defend support, probably pop it up higher, maybe rally it up and into the 430 mark. Then the question becomes, does it break out or does it roll over and put in lower highs? Because you already have one lower high here. Going back to the daily chart, TrendSpider's having issues today. Come on. Actually, no, it's not a lower high. We had a higher high. And we still haven't put in a lower high. So we're okay here. So it looks like they're going to defend the support level, at least this morning. Let's bring it up on the pre-market. See what's going on here with Netflix. It's up a couple of bucks. Nothing spectacular. So I'd be careful here. I think your risk reward is fairly good. I would just keep a stop loss right below yesterday's lows. If it breaks it, exit with a small loss. And don't open up your intended position all at one shot. If you're going to buy 100 shares, open up a position with 20 shares, 25 shares. And keep your losses small, just in case you're wrong. Dallas, good morning. Hey, Dallas. Yeah, I have a program that allows me to broadcast from Twitch, and from what do you call it? Twitter as well. I may go back to that because YouTube has been giving me some problems lately, especially Sunday night or Monday night. Let's take a look at a couple of symbols that we went over on the week ahead commentary. I just want to follow up on. We were bullish on Fizz going into the week, and it made a new weekly high, but we're at resistance, so we can't touch this right now. We may just break out here. I'll watch for a breakout on Fizz, and then we may look to get high. We may look to get long. I'm only on my first cup of coffee, so bear with me. All right, so we're good to go here. I wouldn't want to buy it right now. You could see that even yesterday. I'll drill down here a little bit. Yesterday, you saw topping action at that resistance level. So the risk is way too high to buy right now. I'd rather wait for a spike higher and close above resistance. Can you check out SE? It's an internet gaming platform for Southeast Asia called SEA. Yeah, we can check it out. Let's do that. SE. Is this at C Limited in ADR? I have to ask if this is a Chinese play. Wow, look at this thing. If it's either, it doesn't matter. If I say China now, if it's Hong Kong or if it's mainland China, I don't want anything to do with it. I avoid those stocks like the plague now. So I'll say that from the get go. Um, if I may ask, where are they based out of? So I can't, using a monthly chart, I can't buy these shares right now because it's so overbought. You know, we've seen this before, where especially in the biotech plays, a few of them in recent days, where I've gone over them 1 week, and the shares are trading up and into the third standard deviation Bollinger Band on a weekly, monthly basis. It looks like there's no way that they're going to not go higher. And then I follow up with them a week later, and all of a sudden they pulled back dramatically. So I would be very, very careful here about initiating a new trade. I would think about lightening up. Oh, okay, I see. Singapore, Philippines, Vietnam. All right, good. Growth sectors, love those areas. Weekly chart. Again, very overbought here. Does that mean it can't go higher? Of course it can go higher. It'll make me look like a fool. It usually does. As soon as I make a call on something, I get smacked, and the market tells me I'm wrong. But then all of a sudden, ultimately, we get the pullback, and it's going to be a nasty one. If you're looking for an entry point here, I would keep it very, very simple. I would wait for, let's see if this is going to carry over to a daily chart. 64. This is about right. I would create an alert off of weekly support. And this is the value of alerts, right? You're not sitting there watching your computer all day long, and you run the risk of buying shares because it pulls back on a 15-minute chart and you think you're getting the bargain of a lifetime, when ultimately it's just the beginning of a more significant pullback. So, this is how I avoid impulse buying. What I like to do is I take my trade alerts out, I set them, and I forget them. And watch this. Not China. I want nothing to do. Frankly, I have had nothing I wanted to do with China for ever. Hong Kong was a different story, no longer. They are all one system now. So here's our alert. It's set. I don't want to take a look at this thing until that alert fires off. And it will, ultimately, it will fire off. Has Twitch gone public? I'm not sure. That's a good question. No. All right, we'll leave off with Oliver and Mag. Mag Silver, that's right. All right, so your question, Oliver, your thoughts on Mag, please. Wondering if it will bounce back up. All right, so, the pre-market activity on gold, I haven't taken a look at silver yet. It's probably up as well. my silver futures? I don't want the minis. Sorry, folks. Here we go. All right, so silver's up at current, at resistance. I'm not confident that we've seen the lows yet for this pullback on silver and gold. I think that the volatility in the bond market is going to cause problems for precious metals. And whereas precious metals have been rallying and outperforming these past several months, where your other commodities have been weak, I think there's going to be a very short-term rotation, because you have yields which are pressing higher. The 10-year yield spiked up. And while ultimately I don't believe it's going to matter, because the dollar is going to crash at some point in time. And then you're going to see a flood of money into silver and gold as the economy opens up. You begin to see velocity of money pick up. Therefore, inflation picks up. You're already seeing it in the grocery market. So as that happens, you're going to see a current inverse correlation begin to go away. Case in point, and I'm going to do a video on this, I guess. And I'll go back to the Volcker days, when back in the late 70s, you had interest rates rising, back into the 80s, early 80s as well. You had interest rates rising along with gold, one of the biggest bull markets ever. So they can rally in tandem, but the missing component is broad-based inflation. And once that happens, you're going to see that inverse correlation go away for a while. But at current, the inverse correlation is for real. And as long as we see longer-term yields continue to rise, you may see pressure on precious metal prices. So that's my short-term take. Longer term, not much of a concern. Now, taking a look at MAG. This is a weekly chart. We attempted to break out last week. It was rejected. What I would do here, this alert expired. Oh, it was triggered, actually, triggered. I would recreate the alert. And again, I would just set it and forget it. And this is how you manage your risk, right? You're not staring at your chart hoping that, wow, we got a big pullback. This is the opportunity of a lifetime. I wouldn't do that. I would wait for my support levels to get hit. Once they fire off, then I would initiate my trade, assuming that we bounce off of it. Why is this not working? I think I need to do an update on TrendSpider, because I want to edit the alert. I want to show it on all time frames. And now I can go to the daily chart, informed. Okay, so there's my alert. Now, one other support level may be here. What was resistance, which ended on the 15th, may now become support. So between support at 1113 and at 1141, but it's declining, keep that in mind. there may be a good entry point, but we need to bounce. I would really wait until late in the day, right before that closing bell. And if we hold the support level, we bounce off the lows of the session, and we're guaranteed to close above that support level, then execute the trade. And stay small. And that way, when you set your stop, psychologically, if you have to take that loss, it's not a big loss. Fix my typos because I'm OCD. Okay. I'll keep it active for a couple of days. That's how I would play it. And with that, folks, I'm going to say, everybody, please have a profitable trading day. Please smash that like button if you could. And members, I will talk to you tonight on Market Wrap. Everybody have a profitable trading day and be well.